From the heart of India, in Punjab, we take a journey all the way to the United Kingdom. Is United Kingdom in the house? All of us. We're in for a little bit of a treat because this absolutely glorious delegation led by the one and only Sue Kerr is in the house. You know this lovely soul sister of ours, Sue Kerr, an internationally renowned speaker and empowerment coach. Fearless, live more. Welcome, Sue. Thank you for bringing beautiful people. I welcome Nadia Dubel. I welcome. Please help me welcoming this gorgeous Indian princess from the UK. Roger Cheetham. Welcoming Roger, who has been one of the most dedicated audience in the house for the past 6 days, offering his heart and soul and all of his listening energy to us. So here's to you, Roger. Helen Chapman. Helen? Okay, yeah, we know she's here. Geeta. Geeta Nai. You will meet each one of them. They're all incredible, magnificent human beings. We welcome you, Geeta. Diaz Richards. Katarzyna. Another princess. Luke Scott. Woo! Didn't hear you. Didn't hear you at all. Because we brought all the noise on the stage, you guys are going to help us? Are you going to work with us? Costa Rica. Costa Rica. France. Where's France? Maria. Oh, you're making up for it. Punjab, make some noise. USA in the house. Germany, make some noise. Monique. Chris. Okay. Sharon, come on over. Helen, wherever you are, come to the stage. Calling Helen. Welcoming Sharon.
we all stand here before you today representing our country, but the more astute of you amongst you will have noticed I'm wearing the Indian flag around my neck, largely because I've come to regard this place as my second home, and to say thank you for the hospitality from Harbin and the crew for this week. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you. It's my job to introduce these wonderful human beings from Team UK this year. So without further ado, because I know we're running short on time, first up, front and centre, the wonderful Nadia Dubiel. Dubiel, yay! Nadia, she will tell you what she needs to tell you, and I'm not going to waste any of her time. So Nadia, come on, Mum.
Hello, everyone. Oh, okay, I'm a little bit taller. Well, hi, how is everyone today? Thank you for coming. And I would like to thank Harbin for organizing all this wonderful event, because thanks to Harbin, I have this wonderful opportunity to share my message. We all have a message for other people, so they can learn from our journey. And yes, and thanks to Harbin, I have an opportunity to embark of my journey, and my biggest passion in life is to teach people, to read the world of suffering, because there is so many of us suffering, creating these horrible thoughts in our head, living in these chaotic thoughts. And it doesn't have to be like that. We need a world where there is more love and more peace. So my mission in life is to teach people how to connect with our hearts. Because we live in our heads all the time. We don't actually connect with our hearts. We don't feel each other. We don't connect with each other on a much deeper level. We only connect to each other on analytical, logical level on the level that we are only taught at school. We were taught we are just humans, but I truly believe we are superhumans. That's why I founded Superhuman Academy. Yes! We are so much more than people, just humans. We are so much more than 5 senses. We have these amazing, tremendous abilities and skills that we don't use because we were not taught how to use them. We have imagination, we have willpower, we have love, and all these other senses that we can use to connect with each other. And instead of that, we compete. And this competition between each other, we create jealousy, conflict, constant wars, and a world needs so much more peace. There is so many people suffering and dying for no reason, modern slavery, wars, and conflict, and we have to change that. And we can only change that when we collaborate with each other, when we connect with our hearts, because when we feel that gratitude towards each other, and that's it. We can connect, we love each other much more. Thank you so much.
Second in line on our lineup today, I have the greatest honour in introducing not only an amazing speaker, but one of my true friends, Mr. Roger Cheetham.
What 6 days it's been at Women Economic Forum 2019. There you go, poetry from a Yorkshireman. Who would have thought it? Seriously though, I've only got 4 minutes, and if I had 4 lifetimes, it wouldn't be long enough to share with you the impact of this event. Now, I'm sure at least once during the last 6 days you've heard the importance of a story. So I'm going to start now with a very short story which happened here this week. Claire and I were fortunate enough to fly out from the UK a couple of days before the conference actually started, which meant we had the honour of meeting Dr. Harbin the day before the conference. We had a very quick chat with her and were able to share with her about the synchronicity of me being invited here to speak for the 25th anniversary of WEF, and that coinciding with 25 years of marriage for myself and my lovely wife Claire down here at the front. Now, literally seconds later, about a 100-yard walk, we met the amazing Mancy in the lift, introduced ourselves, and the response was, "You're the couple celebrating your 25th wedding anniversary, aren't you?" 5 days into the conference, the amazing Manu whilst going round with the roving microphone, also said, "You're the couple celebrating your 25th wedding anniversary, aren't you?" The point I share this story is that even here at an event with over 2,000 attendees from over 120 countries, the Women's Economic Forum still has that family feel. But as a giving person, this has not been about me, it's been about what I've been able to give back. And it's been a real honour to share my story of moving from an attempted murder victim in 2013, sharing that message to benefit others in the UK, and now at this amazing event to have earned my wings as an international speaker. And I don't use the term international speaker from any egotistical point of view whatsoever. What it means to me is that I'm now able to share my messages on empathy and my message of resilience that shows how dark things get. Not only can you get through it, you can emerge a stronger, more positive and improved version of yourself for the first time with an international audience. Thank you very much.
Why am I so short? Okay. Next up is the serene, soulful Ms. Geeta Nayi.
Hi everyone. I'm so happy to be here amongst inspiring people. It's been an amazing few days. So many amazing people, I can't believe. Please, put your hands up if you're happy to be here too. Thank you. My name is Geeta Nayi, and I'm founder of Connect to Greatness. I'm an intuitive coach, and I help people turn their big dreams into reality. But first of all, I would like to thank you all for being here, having your presence here. It means so much to me. So please give yourself a big round of applause. Thank you. Stress is leading cause of poor health, failure in the workplace, breakup in relationship, and lack of fulfillment in life. Napoleon Hill, who studied hundreds of most successful people in his time, has said that the biggest failure of people is their inability to turn that negative emotion into desirable outcome. And that's what we're all struggling with. I have been through stuff in my life where I was very low space, where I didn't want to get up in my days that I wanted to do anything. I was hiding. I was being victim of being circumstances. And from my experience, what I've learned to connect to myself, once I've done that, universe opened up all this opportunity, events, people into my life. And now, what I've learned, I would like to help those to connect to their greatness, where they can use tools and techniques to turn stress into creativity, motivation, inspiration, love, and greatness. If you asked me 6 months ago, I would be speaking here in front of all you amazing people. I wouldn't have believed you. but I've used those tools and techniques and created this that I'm here. So this is what I want to pass it to you. It's a thing, it's a very valuable thing. You could give it to yourself. It's a gift to yourself. It's an investment that you could never ever look back on. So please, if you want to learn anything, just let me know. And it's been great meeting you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Geeta. The next lady in line, Miss Diaz-Richards. She now knows how India can throw curved balls at people. She spent most of the week walking around in Geeta's clothing because British Airways lost her luggage. I'm sure she'll murder me for telling you that, but never mind. Geeta, no, Geeta, you've gone. Cameron Diaz, come up stage. Diaz, come here, please. I've been calling her Cameron Diaz all week. Come on, Cameron. I love you.
Ladies, gentlemen, it gives me great honor to stand here before you in this very prestigious ceremony, celebration, thanks to Dr. Habib, who's made it happen. And to all of you who've taken the time out to be here. I feel genuinely so blessed to have spent these few days among some of the most amazing light givers. So blessed. Thank you for sharing your energy with me. I'm Diaz, and I'm founder of a 4-week mentorship program, Journey Back to Source. I have a vision, and that vision is to create global and universal peace in helping humanity to reawaken to their God essence. And in so doing, the mission is to show you via some very simple techniques on how you can reawaken and reconnect to your true essence. I believe that we all are highly evolved, omnipotent, omnipresent beings, all of us, because we were created by a force equally powerful and omniscient. And as such, you have the power within you to manifest your wildest dreams, if and only if you allow yourself to go back and to find within you that power. We've come away from our true powers when we came to this plane. But the forum is not the time to go more deep into that. But if you wish to know more, connect with me. Journey Back to Source, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Diaz Richards, Journey Back to Source. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been indeed a great honor. You are all beautiful human beings, highly evolved, multi-dimensional beings you are. Thank you. You are my sisters. You are my brothers. You are most powerful. Thank you for your smiles and your energy. Thank you.
I shan't waste any time introducing the diminutive nightingale, whose name I'm now trembling in my boots as I try to remember how to pronounce. Katarzyna Spercheska. Nearly. Katarzyna.
Please join me. I am light, I am light. I am light, I am light. I am not the things my family did. I am not the voices in my head. I am not the pieces of the brokenness inside. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light. Please join me. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light. Powerful. I am a light. 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 I would love you all to feel it deep within that you are all are light. You are the light that comes from the one and only. You are, as Wayne Dyer says, the piece of the apple pie. There is nothing else. If you come from the apple pie, if you come from God, you are a piece of God. You are worthy. You are mighty. You are omnipotent. You are. And that's enough. You are. You have such a power within you. Don't let fear stop you. Come from love, because fear is false evidence appearing real. Come from love, and don't be discouraged by failure, because failure is nothing else than first attempt in learning. So without failure, you won't succeed. And bring light, bring yourself, because where is darkness, and you bring light, you bring yourself, there will be light. Where is love? Where there is no love, bring love, and you will find love. My name is Katarzyna Joanna Sperczyńska. I am an actor, I am a singer, I am a speaker, but first of all, I am a supporter of yours. I mentor those who have great messages. And I want to leave you with one thing. Just remember the light that is in you. The light that comes from there. And nothing and no one can take it from you. We are enough. We are the power. We are the change of tomorrow. Dr. Harbin, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Because you changed the Women Economic Forum into Women Empowerment Forum. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Compose yourself, Susan. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most spiritual young men that I think I've ever met, Mr. Luke Scott.
Please put your hands together for the amazing Sue Kerr and all the other speakers we've had so far. I invite you all, please take a deep breath in and out. Every act of kindness ripples through eternity. Who believes that? Raise your hands nice and high. Beautiful. Please turn to the person next to you and say, always be kind. I have seen some incredible acts of support and kindness in these past few days. From people I've just met, people I barely know, all coming together, giving for no reason other than just to give. Isn't that the kind of world we want to live in? And what an amazing space we've all created. Thank you all for this taste of what life can be like when we're all coming from our hearts. My name's Luke Scott III. I speak all over the world, but I've never spoken before at a conference quite like this. To be one of the few men invited to speak at a conference with over 2,000 empowered women really hit home that I've been doing something right. And one of the greatest pleasures is actually, I run a public speaking academy, and 6 of my students came here to Delhi, and now they're all international speakers. And a lot of them are stood on this stage. And to see their growth in just months, what we're doing here today, the ripple effects of this event are going to change the whole world. They already have. You have to take what you've learned here and you need to go and implement this. You need to share this stuff. You need to show people what life can be like when we all support each other. And next time, instead of 2,000 people, let's have 20,000 people all coming from their hearts. Next year, let's have 100 speakers from the UK. I'm going to bring an army of empowered people, right, all coming from their hearts to share with you. I'd love to connect with you all. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube. Standout Speakers Academy. And I just want to leave you with this. All it takes for us to change this world, for us to shift everything, is for you to dare to shine bright. Because when you dare to shine your brightest, you give other people permission to shine too. So be brave, be bold, be courageous, shine, and be kind. Thank you.
Thanks, Luke. Perhaps I'll get my numbers right. Okay, next up is Ms. Sharon Calix, who Sharon and I have been around in the same circles on social media for a while. It took us both to come to Delhi to actually meet, go figure, and we live in the same country. Sharon's going to be organising the next London event. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Sharon Calix.
Wow, is all I can say so far. It's just been mind-blowing. I think my only regret is that I'm not staying a bit longer, really. I mean, I'm blown away from the minute I landed to the hospitality, to the people. You know, you hear all these things, and when you see it for yourself, it's something else. And feel it. The people of New Delhi, you're amazing, you really are. And I want to thank you for that. But I want to just say to you, coming to stand here wasn't easy. I faced many challenges. I'm going to move this back. I faced many challenges that shaped me into the person that I am today. I'm a mother of 4 children that I raised independently, single mother of 4 children to university level. I have a child that has an incurable bowel disease, and my mission to start my journey was to find a cure for my son, who has had 39 procedures and still going. So every time I hand him over to the surgeon, I hope that he comes back cured, but that's not the case. I've strived through depression, I've overcome diversity, and I look for results in everything that I do. But this challenged me and has made me now become the UK's #1 social media expert and an international speaker. I've worked with some of the most respected names in the industry, and I've spoken across some of the most biggest platforms across the world, but not quite like this. What stands out for me at WEF, World Economic Forum, is the stories that I've heard and the people. My work is not yet done. I can see that by the people that I've met here in New Delhi. It's amazing to be touched and to hear the stories and the inspiration by the people that have worked and done so much. For me, I have got a lot more to do. So thank you for sharing that story. I'm so delighted to see students walking around here in WEF, because when I was a child, we never had platforms like this to go to, and we never had things like this to go. My life was mapped out for me. I had to be the accountant that my mother wanted me to be, and I had to work 9 to 5, retire at 65, and then you start living. But that wasn't what I wanted, and so my dream wasn't to be the accountant. So today I have my daughter here with me, and all of my children come to seminars, and my daughter was a speaker, a young speaker, and I think it's really important that students come to events just like WEF so that they have the seed planted at such a young age and grow and decide what entrepreneurial level they want to take and what direction of life they want to have. I'll close by saying this. If you want to be a woman in power, then you have to empower other women. Because there is room for everybody. I would like to thank you, Dr. Harbeen, for holding such an amazing event. And thank you to all the women who have stayed here for 6, and men who have stayed here for 6 days and still have so much energy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharon. Okay, last but not least, by any means, Miss Helen Chapman, who's going to shine in her own brilliance. Come on, Helen.
Oh, in my inimitable style, I arrived last, and it's been the phrase of this trip with all my colleagues. It's like, where's Helen? Where's Helen? Where's Helen? But I made it, and I'm so grateful to be here. Honestly, I keep thinking I'm in a dream. I keep having to pinch myself. Standing here with all of you, everyone, it's just been incredible. It really is a dream come true. And I'm wondering if I can share a little story. Is that okay? Yeah. So when I was little, if I heard some music, right, I just started dancing. I just couldn't stop dancing. Or if I wasn't dancing, I was humming a tune. I was making words. I'm making just all these little hums in my head, right? And I'd just be dancing and humming. And my mum used to call me her little Winnie the Pooh. And my dad used to call me his little ray of sunshine. But then something happened. I went to school and I realised I didn't think like other kids. I didn't learn like other kids. I just didn't fit in. And there wasn't any room for somebody like me, apart from being at the back of the class. But I had this thirst for knowledge, right? This yearning to know about stuff, to understand the world. And my dad happened to be this walking, talking encyclopedia. And we became enmeshed, totally enmeshed. But it wasn't always, there was a dark side. He'd suddenly explode with rage if I got a question wrong. I retreated from the world. I stopped feeling. And the only safe place was in my imagination. I stopped dancing, I stopped singing. And I imposed this solitary confinement of the soul. Until about 6 years ago, when I realised I had this little light inside of me, which had never, ever, ever gone out. Ever. And I have found my purpose. And I am living it. I am living it. And my name is Helen Chapman, and I am, as of this incredible conference, an international speaker and a transformational coach. I am the founder of Rebel Love Journey, and I work with highly creative, successful women discover and live their life on purpose by uncovering their unusual, incredible brilliance. It's fully self-expressed, and it is my absolute mission. It is my absolute mission that every single leader, every single female leader on this planet is fully self-expressed, is able to self-express and live their life on purpose. So if any of this resonates with any of you, come and talk to me, because I love to collaborate. Let's do this together, right? We're all in it together. So thank you so much. Dream come true.
Just very quickly, when I was asked by Harbin and the office to pull together the UK delegation, or a UK delegation, I should say, to bring to WEF, I thought, who do I know that can speak? Oh, I know, Luke Scott and Roger Cheetham. And suddenly, I have a whole host of new friends, but friends who friends who, at the beginning of this journey, in all honesty, with the exception of Roger, I didn't know. I have watched them unfold over numerous hundreds of text messages as we've discussed visas, etc., etc. Such was their determination to get here, each and every one of them. And I would like to say thank you guys for making my job this year so much easier than it was going to be for me. And I'm pretty sure that as far as this room is concerned, it was a UK delegation, not quite like they probably expected. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart to yours. Thank you.
I just want to thank our soul sister Sukar, who also chairs the All Ladies League Yorkshire chapter in the United Kingdom, for being always there whenever you reach out to her, and she's always thinking about the sisterhood, always In anything that she does, she's always trying to really give her best to expanding and uplifting our sisterhood and brotherhood. So, Sue, I'm so, so happy that you took up the invitation to curate a plenary and bring a delegation. You started with, I don't know who I know, and look at what you got. And this is magic. This is the magic of initiative, of intention, and you end up with loads of impact. So thank you, everybody, for that.
We will now present the awards to this amazing group of speakers. I request Sukar to join Harbin Arora. Nadia Dubail for being an iconic woman creating a better world for all. Roger Sheetham, iconic leader creating a better world for all. Helen Chapman, iconic woman creating a better world for all. Geeta Nai, iconic woman creating a better world for all. Diaz Richards, iconic woman creating a better world for all. Katarzyna Joanna Spurzinka, iconic leader creating a better world for all. Luke Scott, iconic leader creating a better world for all. Sharon Calix, iconic leaders creating a better world for all. Our panelists to come together for a group photograph, please. Group photograph. All the panelists kindly get together. to the entire panel. Thank you so much for being with us. You've inspired us so much this whole week. Amazing, phenomenal session. Thank you for being with us till the end. A big round of applause for the entire group that's sitting here. Ladies and gentlemen, we couldn't have done this without you, without your energy. Thank you. And the valedictory session, the last session for this week. I can't believe it. Can you believe it? We're sad, right? But we're gonna make it happy. It's gonna be a happy ending. We're reimagining enterprise with a precious energy. One of the most precious energies that we know as humans, as women, as men, and something that unleashes the best of us is creativity. And that is what we're reimagining enterprise with creativity. And it is my absolute honor to invite achievers of great acclaim, light workers from diverse fields. But to open this panel, it is my honor to invite an amazing, inspirational lady, Helen Murray Goslin. She is the founder of the International Women's Forum, coming all the way from Austria. Here is a lady beside you who is a leader, who's worked across the world for decades at end, offering all of herself so selfishly. Such an honor to have Helen with us. Would now like to call upon Nita Saju to please come up on stage. Nita Saju. Over to your left of stage. She's coming up. Nita Saju, a big round of applause. Inviting on the stage Divya Bhindra Kapoor and Ambika Jain, the founders of Dabiri. You have been enchanted by the beautiful colors as you enter this area. Have you seen the little stall with the beautiful Indian saris and the mannequin wearing that shiny dress? That's them. That's these ladies, the creators of Dabiri. Would now like to call upon Mr. Shyam Singhania to please come up on stage. Chairman of NR Group India, Mr. Shyam Singhania. A warm welcome. Tamanna Dhamija. Mr. Harjeet Singh, if you can please join us on stage. A warm welcome for Mr. Harjeet Singh from the USA. Lily Wong. Welcoming Lily. Things are happening. I promise you, you will be very, very inspired after you meet with this lady. Helen, I invite you to please speak with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Is that, yes. Good evening, or good afternoon. Dr. Abid Arora, dear participants, other members, I'm extremely honored to be here this evening at this closing of what has been an extraordinary week of a very unique conference. I am particularly grateful because it takes place here in India, a country that I've known for so many years and that has always inspired me. And one of the reasons it has always inspired me is because so many women throughout generations, through its history, have been and are exceptional leaders. And this is something that I've always been striving in my career to be. Even in Indian mythology, as you know, in Hindu mythology, women or the female goddesses are given very powerful roles, as powerful as men, which is quite unique. So I feel extremely privileged to be here. And if I may say on your behalf, Dr. Arbin Arora, you have created magic this week. And I would like to ask everybody to have a warm round of applause for you. I am in awe of what you have achieved and you are achieving. I was asked to say a few words about myself. This is always difficult for a United Nations official, or in my case, a former United Nations official, because we are not supposed to talk about ourselves. In fact, we are, or we should be much better to talk about issues, to advocate about issues. So I would rather keep it at the issues level. But just let me say that on a personal note, I've been a very privileged person. And maybe this is why, because of this privilege, that I have decided to dedicate my life to serving others in as productive a way as possible. And I found my calling in the United Nations system. First in UNICEF, the UN Children's Organization, defending and advocating for children's rights, for mothers' rights, for the right to education, the right to good health, and the right to equity. Then afterwards, I joined the UNESCO, the UN Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, because as you well know, and especially here in India, culture is the very, very underlying fabric of our society. And you're so fortunate here to have an amazing numbers of World Heritage sites, but also of what we call at UNESCO the intangible cultural heritage, everything that makes us living differently every day. And in fact, as I hear the song here and some of the way we are, this is also a cultural heritage, and this needs to be preserved and cherished. So it is my honor again to be here. One of my favorite writers is Tagore, and let me just say one short quote that really defines the way I feel this evening being with you. Tagore once said, "The depth of friendship does not depend on the length of acquaintance." And after, isn't that beautiful? I think it is really beautiful. After just a very few days here, I feel that I've made friends for life. And this is, I see many of you here, and I feel very, very, very fortunate to have met all of you. And I promise that we will keep contact in the future. In fact, I was you know, I've been attending so many international UN conferences. I've even helped organizing some of them, including one here in Delhi almost 20 years ago on education. And, but never, I shouldn't say never, but yeah, never have I felt this level of energy. This is absolutely communicable. Even before I left home in Vienna last week, I got a LinkedIn request for linking. And this was from Monique right here from Germany. And she said, oh, I look forward to see you in Delhi, and would you like to join our Impact Tribe, I think it's called. And as you know, for those of you who are a member, every nanosecond I'm getting messages. And I think it is so invigorating, it is so challenging also, because you really have to think about what can you contribute, what can you discuss with people. So to me, this has been a very, very unique experience. I don't want to speak too long. I've promised to be brief. But let me just say I would fail to my role as a former UN official if I wouldn't recall that for generations, we have to be grateful to all these women who have fought for women's rights, which we take for granted right now. The right to vote, the right to education, the right to health, the right to and now we are fighting for other rights as well. And we have heard from so many of you this week, the right to parental leave for both fathers and mothers, the right to pay equity, or parity. And so this is to say that there is so much more to be done. I think we can be congratulating ourselves and our four mothers and fathers for what was achieved, but there are many, many roadblocks. And the situation is, of course, very different depending on where in the world you live. But there are many roadblocks in every country. In my own country, I was reading in Canada, where I come from, I was reading a recent study that states that almost half women working in the workforce feel they are not equal to men. Now, take a minute and think about that. I mean, Canada, that prides itself to have gender equity. We even have a government with a cabinet with half women. There, half the women feel they are not the equal to men. In my new work with the International Women's Forum, I'm very privileged to be a mentor. I say privileged because I feel I gain very often a lot more than what I can give to my younger mentees. But one of the things that I hear almost consistently from these mentees that come from around the world, one is Australian currently living in Myanmar, others are Americans, Austrians. One thing that I hear is that very often these young women feel that they are not sufficiently supported, including by their elders, by women who are in the workforce and who should be encouraging them more. Very often it is not for bad will, it is only because we feel we have fought, we have made our way, so everybody should fight. Well, let's just think, as we have heard this week, that a lot has to do with building self-confidence, determination, and there the women of my generation and of all of your generation can also contribute to making other women in the workforce feel more valued, more privileged, so that they can contribute to the fullest. This brings me to the conclusion of my very short talk. You know, again, I've been to so many conferences, and very often we are very motivated. We feel this positive energy building up, and we feel very, very boosted up. But then, because of the intricacies of life, when we go back, this kind of energy will fall down. So let's agree today, this minute, this place, that we'll continue to work together, to fight together, to be determined to continue the cause of women's rights, to build everywhere in the world, in whatever, and to abolish whatever roadblocks there is. This is about determination, but this is about courage as well. And in closing, I am very inspired by a great American women's rights activist and author. Her name is Maya Angelou. I'm pretty sure you know her. And Maya Angelou once said, "One isn't necessarily born with courage, but with potential. Without courage, we cannot practice any other virtue with consistency. We can't be kind, we can't be true, merciful, generous, or honest." So let us be determined to be courageous and to continue the amazing work that we have started, or that have continued working on this week in Delhi. I thank you so very much.
It's an absolute honor, Ellen, to have you here with us from Austria. Like Ellen said, she is a former UN official. She is also the founder of the International Women's Forum in Austria and is connected to some of the most powerful women in the world. It's an absolute honor, Ellen, to have you here with us from Austria. And I love the spirit of sisterhood that you've shared with everybody and the continuity that you've offered again in sisterhood to stay in touch with our sisters and continue inspiring, sharing and connecting us all forward. We do, since you're a UN official, I will share this with you. We have announced the Mission Million for 2022. The genesis of the Mission Million 22 is actually in the 4th World Conference on Women that was held in Beijing by the United Nations in 1995.
I was there.
And you were there as well. And there've been a few sisters in the US, Dr. Jean Bolen, who's been working to advocate with the UN for a 5th World Conference on Women. However, for reasons of, it goes through a big bureaucratic thing, so it's not been happening so far. But she was very, very keen. So she came here last year. I don't know if you all received her blue buttons last year. And she said, Harbin, can you help? What can we do? So I said, listen, I can't control what the UN takes up or what it doesn't take up, but I can do what I can do. So why don't we do the 5th World Conference on Women with or without the UN? We do it, and if they like it when we are doing it, they might just come forward to support it. So I asked her, how many women do you want there? And she said, well, earlier in the Beijing, 25 years ago, there were 20,000 women. Tell me something like that, right? So we said, well, we are in the digital age, so let's aim for a good number. So we came up with Mission Million.
Wow. Ooh. This is amazing, really. I don't expect less from Dr. Abin Arora, I must say.
So we will need your help in achieving the Mission Million, and perhaps then having the UN also say, hey, girls, well done.
Yeah, as you know, the United Nations has been a long-standing advocate for women's rights. We have now a very important program called UN Women with remarkable women who are involved. And we even launched a campaign called E for She, because one thing I did not mention in my brief remarks is that I'm very, very happy to see so many men here as well, including participating. Because this is not a matter of us versus them. I wouldn't be here standing today if my own father would not have believed that I had every right to be educated and to work and to reach for my dream as my own brothers. So I think this is not a matter of us or them, but men play an equally important role. And in fact, very often in the workforce and wherever we work, we are very lucky to have men who work with us. So I think that we should, in the million, have also many men and join in the E for She campaign, because this is a matter of working together and not one against the other.
Yeah, and I also say that when women are so empowered, we should have a She for He campaign as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Woo, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then when both of us are empowered, we should have He and She for All campaign.
Yes.
What we are doing here is She for She, of course. Because for long we've had a He for He.
That is true. That is very true, yes.
Thank you so much, Hélène. It's an absolute honor to have you here
and
with
again,
us.
thank you for inviting me. This has been a transformative few days, and I really look forward to participate in the future as well.
Thank you so much.
Including for the million.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Hélène Marie Gössler from Austria.
Speaking of profound change makers and people of influence, we have somebody very, very special in the house. You may have heard of him. You do know him. Please meet with Mr. Ashish Bhasin, the name synonymous with advertising in India, with 3 decades of experience across the board, the CEO and chairman of the Dentsu Aegis Network, South Asia. We welcome you, sir.
It's an absolute honor to have with us Mr. Ashish Bhasin, who I've known personally, and I can tell you, he's a very busy man, as Mansi just introduced him. Dentsu AG's network is a Japanese multinational, and Ashish Ji is the chairman and CEO of India and CEO of the Greater Southern region as well. So having a portfolio beyond India as well. So he's into the, like Mansi introduced, into the advertising and marketing space. And you have been recently acquiring a lot of companies as well. You have a huge portfolio. For our guests from India and abroad, Ashish Ji, firstly, I welcome you. And I would like to ask you to introduce a little bit about DAN, as we know it, which is the Dentsu Aegis Network. What does it do, and what does your portfolio of companies do, and what do small entrepreneurs who are here in the room, if they're in the advertising and media space, look forward to in terms of being part of your portfolio of companies one day?
Thank you, Dr. Habeen. As a part of my profession, I speak very often on public fora, but I have to say I've seldom been as nervous as I am now, because I've never spoken in front of so many powerful and amazingly achieving women, not just from India, but from all over the world. So it's a bit daunting, but I will give it my best bash. And fortunately, the first subject you've asked me to talk about is something which is very close to my heart, which is my company, Dentsu Aegis Network. A little bit of history. We are in the advertising and media business. I brought this group into India in 2008. That's about around 11 years ago. At that time, we were a small loss-making operation of about 40 or 50 people. Fortunately, business has been good. Some of the calls we made were good, and we're now about 3,700 people. A lot of that came in through organic growth, and a lot of it through acquisitions. There were several smaller companies which weren't getting there, which were very good at what they did, but weren't getting there. You need a larger canvas to go to bigger brands in India. So a Maruti or a MasterCard or all the multinationals want the support of a large group. So what we thought was that we'll make like a conglomeration of entrepreneurs besides the businesses that we have, and together put it under one umbrella, one roof, and then go to clients. And that has worked very well, particularly because in the area of digital, we really took a lead over with the largest customers of Google, largest customers of Facebook, and digital marketing, because there was a lot of mess happening there. By doing it professionally, I think that really helped us. In this process, we acquired 14 companies. We have a total of 24 companies in India. I look after Greater South, which is Southeast Asia and South Asia, but I'm just now talking about India. We have 24 agencies. Some are creative agencies, some are media agencies, some are digital agencies, some are outdoor agencies, etc., and PR agencies. Of these 24, 11 of them were acquisitions. And what I'm very pleased about is that some of them, we recently, about a year and a half ago, acquired the largest independent advertising group in Sri Lanka, and that is headed by a very powerful woman called Neela Marikar, the Grant Group. And for the last about 4 decades, she has championed the cause of advertising in her country. Sri Lanka went through a lot of rife and civil strife and so on a few years back. She actually took women, participated, and said that, look, we want peace. We don't care who's what, but business for peace. She did that. And she's in a lot of global women fora, where what she's trying to do is a lot of, big leaders like Paul Kagame, for example, of Rwanda, etc., Sherry Blair, the wives of the big leaders, trying to create a group which can work together. They meet twice a year and try to influence for good the decision making. So we're very fortunate that in this process of acquisitions, some very lively, high-achieving women entrepreneurs also came in. I mean, of course, a lot of men entrepreneurs, but a lot of women entrepreneurs came in. And in my exec council, we have not a good enough, I would say. In advertising, the problem is that at the entry level, it's almost 40-60, 40 or 45-55 between men and women. We've done a lot of study on this, but around the 7-year mark, you have a big drop-off, and then as you go to the senior levels, it's very, very few women leaders. relatively speaking, we are better off in our group. We probably have a ratio of around 40% or so. But I only say that relatively speaking because it's not good enough till it crosses 50-50, I would say, in that sense. So we are on our way there, but it's been a lovely journey. And on the way you meet friends like Dr. Habeen, who you get inspired by a lot of good work that they're doing, and that keeps us going.
Thank you so much, Ashish ji. I know of you as a very, very humble, empathetic leader, and we were having a session with Manoj Kohli, you might know him as well, and I was telling him that normally when you think of, you do role plays in MBA institutes about you're playing the leader and the boss, there's this sudden, uncalled for aggression and sense of extra authority that takes over the role-playing person, whereas in Manoj and people like you, I always see you're in touch with your seeking, learning, which we call feminine side in that way, and a real leader, without the airs of that one. So you were very accessible. I remember you gave us like a good 1 hour with me and Vinay, having a cup of coffee with you, and you accepted our request to come over here. I would like to ask you about the people, the clients that you work with. What kind of change are you seeing in advertising campaigns vis-a-vis brands promoting and standing up for gender empowerment and gender equality?
I don't think as an industry we are doing a damn good job of that, if you ask me. I conducted the Goa Fest, which is the advertising festival in Goa. I'm nearly coming straight from there. It got over on Saturday, and we had a woman speaker from international, and she opened our eyes. If you look at it traditionally, we've created stereotypes which now as an industry we are finding very hard to get out of. Right? So you've got to be fair and lovely, you've got to have a certain body shape or a fair color or this, that and the other, or the roles that the woman is playing. The good thing I find is that now there is a lot more of awareness. So I would say we've probably moved 5 steps forward, but I do feel we still have 5 more steps to go.
So you're saying that the advertising industry is still part of the problem and it needs to work to become part of the solution.
It's not a part of the problem. See, advertising industry, or for that matter, film industry, in many ways it's hard to say whether that reflects real life or whether real life reflects that, right? So I would think it's a societal issue. I think the advertising industry is now very aware of it and becoming more and more aware, and particularly the younger generation. I mean, I think if my company did an ad which was, let's say, derogatory in stereotype to women, more than any other problem, I would fear the backlash from my own company. And I think that's a good thing, because the youngsters today are the ones who are who are showing you the mirror. And the honest truth is that if you grew up in India 30, 40 years ago, it was a patriarchal society. There were certain stereotypes. And many leaders of today have actually grown up in the mindset of that. The brilliant thing that's happened is that over the last 10 years, there's been a huge democratization, partly because of media, advertising, internet access, global travel, etc., etc. But it's still in the journey. It's not, I won't say I'm happy where we've reached as an industry. Some companies are a little better than the others, but I think we have begun the journey is what I'll say.
Thank you, Ashish. I'll pose a question to you, which we have been consistent, is the question of the forum, I think. We have been consistently posing it in our fireside chats with corporate leaders. We posed it to Mr. Puneet Chatwal, who is the CEO of the Taj Group of Hotels. We posed it to Nainalal Kidwai, who was here yesterday for a fireside chat. And I posed it to you, and you started your talk with it, and you said, we start with more women leaders in the junior education, junior level, middle management, but by the time we go to the top, we have fewer and fewer women, which is a phenomenon known as the leaky pipeline, just to shorten it, but that's the phenomenon. Why do you think it takes place, and what do you think from an advertiser's point of view, from, you see the market, you know so many corporates who you work with. What is your suggestion on fixing it?
So look, this for us is a very big problem, because as you know, in advertising, you don't have machines, you don't have production, you have only people, right? And if half your people, let's say women are roughly half the workforce, if half your people you're going to start losing through leaky pipeline, then you have a serious, severe problem. So we've been racking our brains and trying to crack it for a while. About 5 years ago, I formed the Dan Women's Council. And what I found was that women relate much. Now, if I go and tell a young woman that, look, doesn't matter, you can handle your household and these responsibilities, etc., etc., it'll be one thing. But if you have already gone through that, you've already experienced that and have risen to a level, that girl will relate much better to you than she would to me. So we formed a group of our women leaders, headed by Rajni Menon, who's the CEO of Kera, one of our companies, and Rubina, who's the CEO of iProspect. And we took these group of 10 or 12 leaders, and we said that these are the women who are going to, who sort of going to mentor you. The problem is that, you know, when it comes to about 6-7 years experience, that's when women get to be childbearing age, they get married. The society pressure, the home pressure, because advertising is not a 9-to-5 job. It can't be. It's a service industry. It has unreasonable expectations on deadlines sometimes. So we tried flexi timing, we tried giving all of that. But the fact is, it is a high pressure industry. That's not going to change. It is the reality, right? Around that time, because of the way our society is constructed, they come under so much pressure that they just feel it's better to, you know, step back and maybe either do something else or do nothing. But the women who are able to go through that cusp, that also when we studied, we figured out, then they rise all the way to the top. So it's that 7 to 10 year experience kind of a thing, you know, that we have to help them guide over. So we're trying to do that. And some very interesting things come in. I'll give you a very silly example. And I kick myself for being such a fool. For all these years, you know, now you have this pad man and this and that. So there's a lot of awareness of sanitary napkins and menstrual this thing. For all these years, in our women's toilets, we didn't have that, right? We didn't have, and you know why we didn't have that? I personally go into every toilet of my office and I check it. I never go to a women's toilet, right? So it never struck me that this was a need. Now, the Dan Women's Council, so we empowered the Dan Women's Council and we said, now look, you're going to run everything. We want that bit. And this was a very small but a very important thing which came up and we were able to solve it in 30 seconds. Answer obviously is yes, but sometimes what happens is, and that's our insensitivity or lack of knowledge as men, it just doesn't strike you. You just don't know it. And after when I did hear that, I felt how foolish I was. I should have seen this. Of course, now the awareness is much more because movies have been made, etc., etc. But I'm talking about 5-7 years ago when we started this thing. So I think there are a lot of benefits that you get by having women managers as a part of your senior team. And we just have to find a way to plug this leaky pipe. We are again on a journey, but it's turning out to be a tougher journey than I thought it would be.
Thank you, Ashirji. My last question would be, and it was posed to me in a fireside chat on work-life balance. Do you think work-life balance is a gender issue in the sense that men usually are supported in the household by a lot of women, by mothers, by wives, by daughters? They're usually supported to the extent, like we say, you don't have to figure out where your toothpaste is coming from because it's there for you, it's put there for you. That's one part of it. The other is normally we say you don't need work-life balance when you're truly enjoying your work. The more you do, the more you get energized. So that's like a non-gender sort of an issue, that it's about really energizing yourself. But on the other hand, it's a fact that women get so exhausted with a lot of, somebody mentioned, thankless jobs which are not on the monetary metric. Nobody is quantifying the value add to the GDP that a lot of labor of women in the household is bringing, even in the unorganized sector for that matter, and very few spaces and structures of support for self-care and putting that energy back into themselves, which they end up giving out selflessly to everyone around them. So just a little, throw a little light on work-life balance as you see it, and do you see it as a gender issue?
Okay, I'll answer this question in two parts. First, the gender issue, let me tell you, I could not have achieved 1/10 of what I've achieved if it wasn't for my wife, right? And I'm not saying it, she's not even here, so I don't need to.
You're a live stream, so she could be.
So, I'm not, because it is a fact, when you're doing a large-scale, geographically spread corporate job at a senior level, it does take a hell of a lot of time commitment and, days on ends. And there is a wonderful family that you have to run. I could not have been able to do it if somebody wasn't taking care of my family's needs and my children and 1,000 other things and my needs and working in partnership with me. So the role that women play in this is, it cannot be denied. My parents were married for 60 years. My father passed away 2 years ago. He would not have been able to do anything. My mother has never earned 1 rupee of money like that, going out and getting a salary or whatever, because she was a housewife all her life. But my father would have been able to do nothing. We would have been able to achieve nothing if she hadn't slogged all her life and made sure that everybody got what they needed to get, right? So that, there is no two ways about it. But on the other side, coming to work-life balance, a very senior person I heard, and that always struck in. I'm a bad example and a bad person to ask this to, because I am a workaholic. And I do enjoy my work, and I do work sometimes 16 hours a day. I do check my mails 3 times in the night, much to my wife's disgust. So I'm the wrong person, but I'll give you my point of view. It's my point of view. I feel that particularly in a country like India, where opportunities are a lot and we haven't yet achieved what we should. If you're in a Western European country with very high per capita and everything sorted out, it's different. But at least in a country like ours, huge opportunities, lot to get, many things to address. This work-life balance, this generation is doing it ulta. You know, you first have to work, then you have to build a life, and then you have to think of a balance. The problem I have with the current generation, it's not a gender issue at all. It's a mindset issue in some people, and with youngsters, I feel more than that. They're doing it the other way around. They first want the balance, then they want a life, and then if there is some time, they want to work. Now, I don't know which is the right answer or the wrong answer, but from where I come, it's got to be the other way around. And, you know, it's not a cliche, but if you are really engrossed in your work becomes your life. But you have to find a balance. I mean, there's no point in... frankly, in my profession, advertising, if you can't relax, you'll die. It is that. It is a very high... You know, everybody asks me what's the biggest success factor in advertising. You see Piyush Pandey, or you see people like me, or anybody. Somebody says you have to be very creative, you have to have a great this way. All that is there, but that is 2%. Really, it is the ability to withstand stress, because you can do something good one day under pressure, but to be able to, I'm working for 32 years, to be able to do it day after day with the same passion for 32 years or 42 years is really what determines your success or failure, right? So to me, work-life balance has to go to work-life, and you must have a balance. I have a problem with people who have the other way around, and I don't think it's a gender issue. I just think that's the way some people are built.
Thank you so much. I know that was the last question, but one last question, since we spoke about the Mission Million, and here I am with the best brains in the advertising industry. What is your suggestion to us to reach 1 million women entrepreneurs by the year 2022?
Look, I think you hit it on the head when you said digital, because the one thing that... so just get the overall picture right in India first. You're talking about India, I'm presuming?
No, all over the world, across the world, global.
Well, I'll get you 1 million people from India if you want. Forget reaching out to them.
You're on. We're on. We're ready to go. We are happy to exceed our targets and go to 10 million.
I'll give you a very basic statistic which might surprise you. Today in India, we have internet reach of roughly about 450 million, about 45-50 crores people are reached by internet, right? Our dense wages network studies show that by 2021, which is before your 2022, that number is going to go to 800 billion or more. Maybe 1 billion people will be reached by internet. Today, I challenge you to know anybody who doesn't have a mobile phone, which doesn't have an internet, right? Thanks to Mr. Ambani dropping the Jio, dropping the prices, handsets going down, etc., etc. This, and the other statistic is that 60% of India is under 33 years, 34 years of age, right? So if 60%, and those 60% are all digitally savvy, all. People like me first saw a computer when I was 25. All our children saw a computer when they were born with a computer, right? So this is an era of digital natives. If you want to get these women, you will be amazed how powerful a medium, mobile and internet through mobile is. If you can get your communication right, there is no part of any village. I challenge you to find me a place where women do not have access to that, right? They don't have access to newspapers. There are lots of places where they don't have access to newspapers. They don't have access to television news because we are mostly single television houses, and when that is on, it'll be a serial running, or it'll be whatever the family wants to watch, not what she wants to watch. But the one thing she has, which is now her me time, her own access, is the mobile phone. It's opening up the world to her. सो आप 1 मिलियन नहीं, आप 10 मिलियन के लिए भी अगर टारगेट करेंगी तो इंडिया जैसी कंट्री में आपको मिल जाएगा. If you get that right, and you have to use digital, there is no other means of doing it. Start now, you can really get it, I feel.
Thank you so much. Wasn't that a fascinating chat with Ashish Bhasin? A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. We got some amazing, amazing perspectives and insights that are going to be invaluable to each one of us as we go forward in our respective businesses. Thank you, Ashish Ji, for that. Mansi, Manu, I invite you to take the session forward.
Thank you, sir. That has just been a wealth of information for our entire audience and the panelists. A big round of applause for Mr. Bhasin again. Thank you for being with us. Would now like to call upon Neeta Saju, Divya Bindra. Neeta ji? Neeta Saju, please come up on the stage and share your few words with us. A big round of applause for Neeta ji.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Hello, sir. The participants on the stage, my soul sisters, family, and friends. Never tell your problems to anyone. 20% don't care, and the other 80% are glad that you have this, was one of the hot discussions when I reached office one day. I was the only one to oppose this. I said, there may be an 80% who enjoys you having problem. There may be some percentage of people who don't care. But if there's a 0.5%, I am there in that 0.5% who care. I was never this way in my life. I always had a past where I never cared about anybody. It was only my life, my family, my children, and my nearest relatives. But one day, everything took a turn. That day was when I had to visit one of the hospitals in Mumbai with the sword of the text report dangling over my head, not knowing what would be the outcome of the result. Walking through the corridors of that hospital, seeing the misery of the patients and the families, I realized that life was so short. I could be the next target. That time, at that particular moment, I decided that my life would never be the same. I would definitely make a difference into people's life. Before I leave this world, I would make memories and go away from this world. I would definitely try to help people and try to empower them, give them a hand to come up, not just give them consoling words or just put them down. But my journey was not easy. It was basically because I was set in a system where I had so many obligations, so many things to do, but somehow I just went about what my heart said. I never bothered about the criticisms and discouragement which people gave me when I started reaching out to people through my writings, through crowdfunding for my charitable works, and writing of blogs and stories inspiring women. The change towards this goal was not easy. My life was like the board of chess, and I was just a pawn. I had two options. One was to remain in that same square, not move ahead and get defeated. The other one was take a step ahead, be defeated, but at least be happy that I took a step ahead. And I did it. I did it. I do it every day. And I'm really happy that I could reach out to so many people in my life. I'm really very, very happy to be here in this forum to be felicitated over here. And today, this day, I would like to thank everybody in my life, especially all the people who have been with me in this roller coaster ride which I call life. And this day is extremely special for me because it's my son's birthday. And to get such a gift on this birthday is the most wonderful gift. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Neeta, for such an honest and open sharing of your journey and experiences. Thank you. I'd like to invite Divya Bhindra Kapoor. Oh, together? Oh, absolutely. Please meet the co-founders, Divya Bhindra Kapoor and Ambika Jain, the founders of Dabiri.
Hello, everyone. It's a great honor and privilege to be here by the Women Economic Forum, and I'd like to thank Dr. Harbeen Arora. And I'll speak on both our behalf. Oh, please. As my partner has a bad cough. And our journey began almost 15 years ago with a common passion towards Indian craftsmanship, and we wanted to revive the wonderful textile heritage of India. Spurred on by the grace of God, our strong work ethic, and today the brand has reached a global reach, and we have a presence across the country. Our design sensibilities have inspired women in India and across the world to take pride in who they are and what they wear. The credit totally goes to our craftsmen and the artisans from different parts of the country. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone here, and it's a great honor you have bestowed upon us to select us for this award. And we dedicate it to our team at Dabiri and the families, and both our families, for motivating and supporting us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Divya and Ambika. And thank you for your dedication of this honor that the Women Economic Forum bestows upon you, to the shoulders and the hands and the labor and the sleepless nights to your artisans. What a beautiful offering from one woman to many other women and men that work with them and for them. I'd like to invite Shyam Singhania, welcoming Mr. Shyam, the chairman of the ENR group.
Yes, absolutely.
Hello, all beautiful people. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Harbeen Arora and Mr. Vinay Rai for inviting me here. I would also like to thank Mr. Anurag Batra, who unfortunately is not here, for getting me to this symposium. I must start by saying that I was very enamored again to hear Mr. Ashish Bhasin, whom I have known for 20 years now. And two things I can talk about Mr. Bhasin is that he mentioned that he sees his emails 3 times in the night, and I've seen that because his response time is like crazy. You send him a message or a mail, and you get an answer immediately. So Ashish, good to see you here and good to hear your views. The brief that I was given to talk here in the few minutes that was allotted to me by Harbeen was to talk about my life's journey. And there's much to say, but all I can say is that I was fortunate and I was lucky to born in a family, as they say in English, born with a golden spoon in the mouth. But that is not what I wanted to say. What I want to say is that this room is full of all beautiful women like you all. And in my hard days, I was supported by a few women in my life. And this is all about women. And these women happen to be my mother, my wife, my sister-in-law, and my daughters. Thank you. In my small company, I have a couple of CEOs, and I have 3 women CEOs who keep me away from the stress which Ashish is in. So my journey was that whilst I was born in a wealthy family, my parents gave me education. They taught me values of our Hindu culture. And I learned my way up in life through the hard way. when I joined my textile mill, I thought that my family would give me a secretary and a big cabin and all that. But when I parked my car and went up to my office, I was given the last seat in the office. And for 2 years, I was made to, 3 years, I was made to work in all departments. I was sent to my mill, which was a few hundred kilometers away from Bombay. I was made to sit on the floor with the workers and eat with them. I was made to cut excise challans. I blackened my hands on all the machines of the mill. And then I worked my way up the organization. And my dear friend who's taking my photograph here is my friend of 40 years and who has seen me grow through this mill. And sometimes things don't shine as you want them to. And we lost the mill. It went into liquidation, and we ran into tough times. And at this point of time, my education and the values that we built through the family came into play, and the ladies of the family supported me. Thank you. When we had the mill, I thought that I would actively retire from work at the age of 45. But that didn't happen. When I say retire, I don't mean to say that I would retire, but from the daily stress and from the day-to-day running, because we had it all. And then there was a day when we didn't have anything. And I think my time is up, but I think the values came into play, and today I think I'm doing okay. I run a few successful brands and companies, and that's all I would like to share. That the commitment the women in my family gave me is something which I can never forget till I die. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanghania. So inspired by your work and all the various things that you do and you're a part of. Thank you for driving the industry so much for the last decades now. A big round of applause for Mr. Sanghania. I would now like to call upon Tamanna Damija to please come up on stage. A warm welcome for Tamanna.
Hi, everyone. I would first want to really thank Dr. Harbeen. I'm just totally amazed by what a powerhouse of impact she is, and how many women entrepreneurs and just women, their lives she's touched. So thank you so much for all the work that you do and for having me here. In my life, I see that there's no introduction up there, so I'll just quickly go through I've done a bunch of different things. I was born and brought up, studied in India, and then I moved to the US and with my family, and I was in investment banking for 10 years. And then when I became a mother in 2014, and I started facing the challenges that a first-time mom faces, right from breastfeeding to the child not taking a bottle, I had this idea of starting a platform for moms. The idea was to have the right information at their fingertips, everything and anything related to physical and mental well-being of the mom and child. And that's when I decided to move back to India, because when I looked at India, I just felt that there's a huge informational need gap. And there's like 350 million kids in India. So 2016 is when I moved back, and I started Baby Destination, which is a content and community platform for expecting and new moms. I'll just share one incident which was quite eye-opening for me. So we create a lot of content that we share on our website or app and all of the social media channels. When we had just started out, we posted one blog post. We had about 10,000 people following our Facebook page, and within 24 hours, 100,000 moms, that article reached 100,000 moms, and 30,000 moms had read and shared it. That day, I realized the power of internet the power of digital. It's always a hypothesis until you see something in action. And from that moment on, there was no looking back. Today, we reach out to almost 15 million women, 24 to 38, expecting moms to be and new moms. We have a community of 750,000 moms across Facebook, local and hyperlocal communities on WhatsApp and on our web platform. And we're very close to getting 250,000 conversations in a month. We are the largest community now in India for moms across all of these digital touch points. And all of this has been built up organically. It's been just bottom up, all organic. And all I can say is that whenever there's a sign, it's, just follow it, follow your heart. People used to tell me, you've moved from New York, like, are you crazy? What's gonna happen? It's just a blog. What's a community? It's a support group. Is it a nonprofit? I just want to say one more thing, that innovation has happened at all levels. We do a lot of analytics, a lot of machine learning on all of the data that we have on mums, which has really helped us identify pain points, grow our communities, and also add value to brands and partners. Wherever you see the signs, and just follow the light, and if the intent and energy is right, then the whole universe aligns to make things happen. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Tamanna. Talk about big impact. You are a pioneer babypreneur, we're calling you. If we could invite Harjeet Singh from the US of A. He's the founder and CEO of Universal EB5 USA Services and Tiger Bridge Capital India in the space of investment banking. It's an honor. Please come.
Every time I go to a stage in India, I see no energy from the crowd. This is the first time I'm speaking in front of women, so I want to see the energy. Good evening, India! One more time. Good evening, India! Good. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Harbeen Arora for building a special platform for women. I think in my organization, 40%, I pay close attention that we have a diversity in the organization. 40% of my staff are women. That is because they go extra yard. They work harder. They don't complain about the hours. They know what it takes to build a house, but they also see the hard work I put in, and they feed off my energy, and they empower me differently. Some days are good, some days are bad, but that's just the way business is. So I'm an investor. My name is Harjeet Singh. I'm an investment banker out of New York. My father migrated to America after the riots of 1984. He parked himself in Delhi, went to Lebanon. He went to Mexico. From Mexico, he went to California. He got his green card by working in the farms of California. At that time, immigrants were welcomed in America. They were giving special green cards. What I've seen from his journey, he worked hard, got his green card, moved to New York. Most of you are well-traveled, so you probably went to New York. You see those yellow cabs. He purchased that with a $25,000 payment on a $200,000 product. He drove that taxi. Only one of few individuals, I could say, probably made $1 million in cash during his lifetime. And in 2002, he put a $250,000 payment and bought a $1 million gas station. And that started. I thought I was going to take off. I said, I don't need any education. I'm going to work at a gas station, and we're going to build this business. My sister and my mother, they cried. They said, we don't want it. We want to educate you. I have an older brother. He had to leave education to support us. Then I have an older sister, and my younger sister and mother, they're like my spine. They helped me to get through college. Fast forward, I worked in companies like Morgan Stanley, DTCC. I worked in CG Therapeutics, one of the largest healthcare fund out of New York. And I wanted to do something on my own, so I became an entrepreneur. First company I started, I failed. I was building a services company. Then I realized, then my sisters, they came to me like, you can't give up. Always there for advice, always lending a hand. I started a company. I said, now I want to build a product-based company. So EB5 is a product where you invest $500,000 and you get a US green card. We have 12 offices in the last 3 years in this country. Second product is what we are looking at in this country. I met with over 3,000 families in India. They're looking to invest in America. So now we're introducing financial products. And obviously we're registered in America, we'll be registered in SEBI. But getting here wasn't easy. There were a lot of, like, I haven't gotten back to the United States in the last 4 months. I parked myself here in order to build a business. And my mother, my sisters, they're helping my wife and my kids. They're empowering them, they're telling me, it's okay, we're gonna take care of your family. So my backbone, my spine is my mother and my 2 sisters. So I wanted to leave you a couple of things, right? Look, you have to have dreams. If you don't dreams, what is this life for? I don't promise this if you're working on a startup or you're working on a company that it's going to be a successful ride, but it can't be that bad. Most you could do is fail. Third, as women, it's in the US, minorities and women-led companies do relatively well versus white America. And there are special vehicles set up, venture capital funds set up only to invest in women and minorities. So for that, India is the next big opportunity. And that's why I'm here, and I'm representing Brand India. Thank you.
Thank you, Harjeet. This must be a 360 from you. Started from India, now back in India. And I have to tell you, when we're living out in North America, you have to do every job that you can pretty much find. And I'd read that you were driving a taxi when we went to college. So, props to you, because from there, you took upon yourself and said, I'm going to be successful. And now you're back in India as well, embracing what you're doing. So a big round of applause for you for all of the hard work that you've put in the last 2 decades. With that, I would like to bring upon our last speaker for this evening. She's from my neck of the woods, I will say. She's from Canada. And a warm welcome to you, Lily Wang. If you can please come on stage. She's a consultant. Welcome.
Oh, okay. Hello. Thank you so much. I wasn't actually sure that I'd be here. My father's very, very sick, so I wasn't too sure. But then a week prior to the start of the conference, I guess I just made a decision to come. So here I am. Yes. And I'm very, very glad I came. However, that being said, I don't have a speech. I was thinking I could read what they said about me. That would make for a good speech, possibly. I'm kidding. But yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. My background has always been in humanitarian work. So I started quite young, and I've always had a very big focus on community development. So that's been women in the inner city. I'm from Western Canada. It's certainly an issue where a lot of women are homeless or very close to being homeless. Sometimes after divorce, that issue gets exacerbated. After that young age, I've worked across the world. So I've come over to South Asia, Southeast Asia, always working on women's advocacy, children's health, education. And so if you're based in Canada or the States, as well as India, Nepal, I feel there's a couple of you who are based in these countries, please do reach out to me, because always I'm focusing on what projects I could do or be a part of or support projects that really work on women's empowerment, advocacy, and education. I also wanted to make a comment about celebration versus the normalization of womanhood. So I think it's really, really awesome that we have specific events for women, right? So we have Mother's Day in Canada, we have Mother's Day in the States, and so on. And that's all well and good, but that's celebratory. I think what we need more of is the normalization of womanhood. The normalization of womanhood exists in the day-to-day, nitty-gritty, the boring, right? It is not enough that we have one day a year to celebrate all the work, like we said, the thankless work that a woman or mother or teacher and so on do. So what does the normalization of womanhood look like? For example, at work, I'm going to say it, feminine hygiene products should be available, and they shouldn't come at a cost. For motherhood, not that every woman is a mother, but many are. For motherhood, the normalization of motherhood exists in the ability and the choice for a mother to take time off, for her schedule to become more flexible. Thank you. If we are talking about respecting women, respecting the experience of girlhood, the experience of womanhood and motherhood, this is true respect. Respect her normal day-to-day life. And then finally, one thing I could share is that being Canadian, I'm helping launch an app in North America. And when it comes to the nitty-gritty, nothing is more nitty-gritty, boring, and day-to-day than that of grocery shopping, clothing shopping, and so on. So what this app I'm doing is it's a free app, and it's allowing sorry, I'm just a bit distracted, but it's allowing the regular consumer, and we are all consumers because it's a capitalist world, right? So it's going to allow everyday consumers to save 2 to 10% across stores like Walmart, stores like grocery stores, flights, clothing, school supplies for their kids. So if you are based out of Canada, the States, UK, France, Australia, and so on, my goal is to have that app, which again is free to the end user, to be given to as many families, low and middle income families, as possible. We all like to save money. It's good. It makes life easier. But imagine 2 to 10% off of groceries, of your kids' footballs, of your kids' school supplies. Nothing is more supportive than actually supporting the day-to-day, normal, nitty-gritty life experiences of the woman. So that's what I do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lily. And to end on that note, as the last speaker for this week-long conference where we've heard hundreds and thousands of people from across the world, over 1 million ideas discussed, to end on the most urgent and persistent question, Lily, what are you doing for others? Thank you so much for helping us conclude with that thought. Ladies and gentlemen, an honor to invite Dr. Harbeen Arora to offer the valedictory remarks as we come to a close.
Wow.
Big breath.
What a journey every time, every year. Celebrating this 25th Global Edition with all of you has been nothing short of spectacular. So thank you. Each one of you who last year, I see Shar there who brought in the delegation from Australia, Ebun from Nigeria, Sue from UK, Punjab, sisters from everywhere, the Latin America, Costa Rica, Peru, Colombia, 120 countries. So good to see you sisters here. Each time this is overwhelming, and like Naina Lal Kidwai was saying yesterday, how do you sustain a 6-day conference? And the answer is, I don't know how. It's something divine. I do feel a divine inspiration in what we do. Harjeet, you felt it in the energy of the audience here. Really, each one, all stands for the energy that all of us bring. And each one of you here who survived the 6 days, who's here right now in the room, stands testimony to the fact that how we simply bring out the beauty and the abundance and the greatness in each one of us by just being present with all our positivity. So we started the conference with the theme. The annual WEF 2019 theme was Reimagining Societies, Reclaiming Humanity with Gender Equality. We started with some perspectives, and just to conclude, after having heard everybody, I know you have a lot to digest, but just one last thought I'll leave you with. Somebody mentioned today in one of the sessions saying there is a shift from the command and control leadership. And where is the shift taking us to? It is taking us to a peace and pace leadership. And what I mean by that is that when we want to reclaim humanity, we want peace for humanity and we want progress for humanity. And women, we embody that very much. We are in quest for peace together, and with the kind of support we are giving to each other, we are adding pace to each step, each initiative, each endeavor, each action that every woman takes, so that in her journey towards becoming, towards every woman a businesswoman vision that we have. So more peace be upon you, more pace be upon you. Together we shall rise, and together we shall be the queen of our own kingdoms, of our own hearts. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now take great pride in honoring our esteemed panelists. I request Dr. Harbeen Arora to honor Ashish Bhasin with the Leader of the Decade in Media Leadership Award. Put your hands together for Helen Mary Gosselin, Woman of the Decade in Innovation and Leadership. Shaju for being an exceptional woman of excellence. I call upon Divya Bindra and Ambika Jain to collect their awards for Exceptional Woman of Excellence. Shyam Singhania, Exceptional Leader of Excellence. Tamanna Dhamija, Exceptional Woman of Excellence. Harjeet Singh, please step up to collect your award for being an exceptional leader of excellence. Lily Wang, Exceptional Woman of Excellence. Malhotra, Exceptional Leader of Excellence. I call upon his son, Varun Malhotra, to collect the award on his behalf. I request our panelists to please come together for a group photograph.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for this dynamic group.
Ladies and gentlemen, please don't leave your seats yet. We have amongst us Katarzyna Joanna, the extremely talented actor, singer, multifaceted personality. She's going to sing opera for us.
I would like to thank the organizers. I would like to thank Dr. Harbin and her husband, all people behind the camera, all of you fellow speakers. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, would you like to give the backing track to the back? And the lovely gentleman with the laptop,
will take part of your world. Part of your world. It will be very quick. It's a song sung by Ariel, Little Mermaid. And she really loves to be on the other side. And she loves to be like the women of the world, strong, standing on her own feet. Come on, come on. Yes. If only I could make my father understand. I just can't see how a world that made such wonderful things could be so bad. Look at the stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has everything? Look at the straw, treasures untold. How many wonders can one cavern hold? Looking around here you think, sure, she's got everything. I've got gadgets and gizmos are plenty. I've got who's it and what's it's galore. You won't think I'm a buffs, I've got 20. But who cares? No big deal. I want more. I wanna be where the people are. I wanna see him dancing, walking around on those, how do you call them? Oh, feet. Strolling around with those ragged feet. Legs are required for jumping, dancing, strolling around on those, what's that word again? Streets. Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they sail, the sun, wandering free. Wish I could be part of that world. What would I give if I could live out of these waters? What would I pay to spend a day long on the sand? Bet you on land they understand, but they don't reprimand their daughters. Bright young women, sick of swimming, ready to stand and ready to know what the people know. Asking my questions and get some answers. What's the fire and why does it, what's the word, burn? When's it's my turn, wouldn't I love to explore that shore of heaven? Wandering free. Wish I could be part of that Thank you so much for this privilege. Thank you, Dr. Harbin. Thank you so much.
just begun to get our share of this world's delight. High hopes we had for the future and our goals in sight. No, we don't get depressed. Here's what we call our golden rule. Have faith in you and the things you do. You won't go wrong. Oh no, this is our family jewel. We are family. Sing it to me. I got all my sisters with me. Sing it to me. I can hear you guys. Everybody sing. We have faith in you and the things you do. Hey, I got all my sisters with me.
झुमका गिरा दे झुमिला ले अगर वो नजर से नजर मिटा दे नच के दिखा दे सबकी धड़कन की कदम से कदम मिला दे तरसी चाल के चाल बिछा के दिल को यूं बेहाल बना दे सारे दीवाने माने न देखी कोई ऐसी गर्ल देख के लग Prende los motores Kawasaki, en la discota Jenny llegaron los Anunnaki, no le baje. El puri sobresale de tu traje, no trajo panticito pa' que el nene no trabaje. Es que yo me sé lo que ella cree que ya se sabe. Cuenta que no quiere pero me tiene espionaje. El puri sobresale de tu traje, no trajo panticito pa' que el nene no trabaje. Es que yo me sé lo que ella cree que ya se sabe. Cuenta que no quiere pero me tiene espionaje. Báilame como si fuera la última vez y enséñame ese pasito que no sé, un besito bien suavecito, bebé. Taqui, 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 rumba.
Touch it and tease it and squeeze it. When my piggyback is hungry, my nigga, you need to feed it. If the text ain't freaky, I don't wanna read it. And just to let you know, this Punani is undefeated. Ay, he said he really wanna see me more. I said we should have a date where at the Lamborghini store. I'm kinda scary, hard to read. I'm like a Ouija board, but I'm a boss bitch. Who you gonna leave me for? You hoes got no class, you bitches is broke still. I be talking cash shit while I'm popping my gold grill. I'm a whole rich bitch and I work like I'm broke still. The love be so fake, but the hate be so real. Sobresale de mi traje, no traje panticito pa' que el nene no trabaje. Es que yo me sé lo que tú crees que tú no sabes. Dice que no quiere, pero se quiere comerle el equipaje.
Báilame como si fuera la última vez y enséñame ese pasito que no sé, un besito bien suavecito, bebé. Taqui, 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 rumba.
Body already know how to play. The work it, keep it tight every day. And I know you need a taste. Now, ooh, I'm falling in love. Give a little ooh, get it well done. Dancing on my ooh, make a girl wanna run. We keep moving till the sun come up. Porque I am the party. It's a fiesta. Blow out your candles, have a siesta. We can try, but don't know what can stop me. What my talkie wants, get my talkie good.
Báilame como si fuera la última vez. Enséñame ese pasito que no sé, un besito bien suavecito, bebé. Taqui, 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 rumba. झुमका गिरा दे जो मिला ले अगर वो नजर से नजर मिटा दे हिला के चल दी टुक 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 कर दी मेकअप तो कर दिया अंग्रेजी पढ़ दी किट पिट तो कर दी जिम्मे कोई बादी विक्टोरिया तू कंटी बिग पूरा लेकिन ने पहला तुम्हारे हकी है नखरा तेरा नी हाय रे पर तुम्हारे हकी मुंडे पागल हो गए ने तेरे दिल के नकदे होनारे
Uda